So someone asked me this the last time, but I didn't have enough time to prepare anything on it. But let's get to it. It's all about your CV, how to prepare your CV appropriately, and the tips and tricks to get to it. And it's always frustrating when it's time for you to get your CV. Some of us really, really have a lot of anxiety when it comes to structuring your CV for whatever you need it for. But what if we stop looking at these documents like a chore? What if instead we saw it as what it really is? It's not just a boring list of old jobs. It's just like your personal marketing brochure, right? It's the story of you, but not the whole autobiography. So today, I'm going to walk you through how to tell that story. So grab a pen and a pad, and let's have a real conversation about turning your CV into the most powerful tool in your career. The biggest mistake I see most talented people or skilled people make is writing a CV about themselves. I know that sounds kind of strange, right? It's your CV, right? But here is the thing. The person reading your CV doesn't care about you yet. They care about their own problems because they have a gap in their team or company, or maybe a project that is behind schedule, a target they need to hit. They are stressed and they are looking for a solution. They are looking for you, but only if you can prove you are their answer. So we need to stop thinking of this as a history report of your past and start thinking of your CV as a strategic document that shows where you are capable of going. Because your CV is the bridge between who you are and the opportunity you are reaching for. There is something called the first 6 seconds or 7 seconds. This is a really great reality check. A recruiter might spend as little as 7 seconds looking at your CV before deciding if you are a contender. 7 seconds, only 7 seconds. And in that tiny window, they are not reading the sentences, they are just scanning through. So your CV has to be sort of visually inviting. And that brings us to formatting. And I'm going to be direct here. Keep your CV simple. This is not a place for rainbow colors, fancy fonts, or those old templates with big blocks of color. Because you want the reader to focus on your amazing content and not to be distracted by a layout that is hard to follow. I've seen some designs that people have their education list on the left side in some big block of color. They have their employment history on another side. It's frustrating for any recruiter to keep following it up and down like that. So stick to a clean professional font like Arial or Calibri and use very, very clear headings like work history, education, and use bullet points, not long paragraphs. Use bullet points. Imagine your CV is a well-organized bookshelf. Everything should be clearly labeled so that the recruiter can instantly find what they need. Then we all know we are living in a digital world, a digitally advanced world right now. In some companies, or should I say in most companies or agencies right now, before a human even sees your CV, it often has to pass through a robot, or should I say an automated system or AI. A lot of these companies use something that is called the applicant tracking system, commonly known as ATS for short. Think of it as a digital filter because this scans your CV for specific keywords to see if you are a good match. And this is just another reason why you should keep your CV simple, because if you use fancy graphics, columns, or text boxes, you might confuse these robots because it can read that stuff and your CV will get filtered out before even a human being ever lays eyes on it. So save the fancy fonts and designs for your portfolio. But for your CV, clarity should be your best friend. Another thing you can also do is to ditch the one-size-fits-all. This is the single most important piece of advice I can give you. You must tailor your CV for every single job or position you are applying for. This probably sounds like a lot of work, I know, but think about it. Every job description is a treasure map. It is telling you exactly what a company or recruiters are looking for. So you have to read it carefully. Circle keywords. Every job description has keywords. So, for example, are they asking you for skills in project management? Do they need someone fluent in SEO or storytelling or customer relationship management? These are your clues. These should be your keywords. So you use these keywords to tailor your CV. You take your master CV. When I say your master CV, that is probably a CV containing all your experiences across everything. So it has all the information about everything you've done so far or can do so far. So you take that your master CV and tailor it. You make it suitable for any other specific job or position that you are trying to apply for. If the job is for a project manager, make your project management achievements front and center. Use their language. When I say use their language, whatever description of the job they gave you in the job description, use those keywords or their language. If they say leading a team as a requirement, don't go and write in your CV that I managed people. No, use the keywords there, led a team. This shows the recruiters that you've also paid attention, and this helps you get past those digital robots because they are out there to scan for specific keywords. So use those keywords to tailor your CV for those jobs that you are trying to apply for. And then another thing you can also do is to show and don't just tell. That is the heart of your CV, the experience section, right? And most people go wrong in this section. They just list their duties. For example, responsible for social media accounts, responsible for filing and sharing documents, tasked with customer service. Those are all just duties that you are listing. The question you need to ask yourself about every single line is, so what? You've managed social media accounts, so what? Because anybody can be responsible for anything, but not everybody can deliver results. And result is what companies or your recruiters are looking for. So you need to move from duties to achievements. Show some impact. Show your impact. So make sure you transform that boring bullet point. What if instead of responsible for social media, you wrote something like, grew Instagram engagements by 40% in 6 months by implementing a new content strategy? You see the difference? Here you are showing an impact, and numbers are your superpower here. They provide proof. Did you save money? Did you make a process faster? Did you train new staff? Did you support a team of 5? Or maybe you manage a budget of 10,000, process an average of 50 invoices per week. These numbers pop off the page. They give context and tell a story of effectiveness and probably efficiency. And always use strong action verbs to start every point. Words like developed, led, implemented, streamlined. These words convey energy. They suggest you are someone who gets things done, but not just someone who showed up. Because everybody can show up for work, but they don't really contribute to anything in their previous workplaces, right? Then let's look at the human element. What about the human element? So those are the soft skills. Things like teamwork, communication, and reliability. I mean, most of the time it's hard to write about these skills without sounding like you are bragging. For example, saying that I'm a hard worker doesn't really mean much because everybody says that, right? Instead of doing that, show it through examples. For example, if you mention a time that you delivered a project ahead of a schedule, that shows dedication, right? So let your bullet points have a bit of storylines that prove your personality. Then there's also this part that we have to talk about, gaps in your CV. Most people worry about the gaps in their history because they were unemployed for a while or they weren't kind of doing anything specific for a while. Maybe you took time off for your family, or you were sick, or you couldn't find work for a while. The thing is, don't try to hide this when it comes to your CV. Because obviously when you go to the interview, they might find it out unless you are someone who is a very effective liar. Gaps are not necessarily red flags, but you trying to hide them is a red flag. So most of the time, you don't need to even draw attention to those gaps. You just have to be prepared. A simple, confident line in your interview can really explain that, oh, you took time for personal reasons. So you should also focus, when they ask you questions regarding that section, you should focus on what you did during that time. And the best thing you could do whenever you are not working is to upskill yourself by maybe taking free short courses. So you could add some of those short courses when you don't have much of a work experience in those areas, which are your gaps. So you just add courses that you took during that time. And this really shows that you are an initiative taker, right? You are proactive. And whenever you frame these things positively, it shows a lot of dedication and integrity. And before you send that CV, there is this last step that you should do and you know you have to do. Proofread. Proofread and then proofread again and again, because a single typo in your CV can make you look very, very careless, no matter how brilliant your experience is. So read it out aloud, because sometimes reading your CV out aloud helps you catch very awkward phrasing of sentences. You can also ask a friend to look it over, because a fresh pair of human eyes is always invaluable. So check the small stuff. Is your email address professional? Is it correct? And also, when it comes to the email address, don't go and use something funny or random, like let's say cooldude@email.com, handsomeguy@gmail.com. No. If those in any way reflect your email address, then please, it's time to create a new one. Because, in a corporate world, they might not take you seriously. You could have an email with your last name or first name. And then when you are saving the CV file, I think it's best to save it as a PDF. PDF retains your original formatting so that no device or computer accidentally changes your structure. And use a professional name, like using the first name and the last name _ cv.pdf. It's a small detail, but it shows that you care. So make sure your CV is named after you. Obviously, it should be. Your CV is like a story. It is your story. It is a living document that should also grow with you. Anytime you have a key achievement in your life, update it. Every time you finish a project or learn a new skill, add it. Don't wait for the last minute until you are desperate. So when you go back to edit your CV, don't do it with fear. Do it with pride. Think about the problems you have solved. Think about the value you have added. Put that energy into words. And take your time, be honest, be clear, because this document is just the key to your door. CVs are just the key to the doors that you are looking to enter. The real you comes through whenever you are granted an interview or when you are given a probational period for your job. So your CV's job is to just get you that meeting or the job first, to make someone think, oh, I need to really talk to this person. And I'm sure you have a story to tell. Everybody does, and the right audience is waiting to hear it. So open that file and get to editing. You've got this. All the best.